Today I'm going to show you how to improve your Minecraft house builds with 10 helpful tips. These are all tips that I follow when building to make my builds stand out instantly. This took me a while to make, so if you enjoy this video, like and subscribe. The first tip is to give houses shape. For example, we have this house. It's an L-shaped house with 2 floors and an attic. Pretty boring. So in order to make it look more exciting, we need to give it shape. This can be done in a few ways, such as making these logs stick out, which gives the house a bit of depth. To add even more depth, change the windows from glass blocks to glass panes or even fences. Another way to give houses shape is to extend either the bottom or the top floor, like this. Extending the bottom looks good if you want to give the house a balcony or if you want to build a foundation on the house. Extending the top makes the house look like a medieval Tudor house in my opinion. It's definitely a unique design that makes houses look a lot better. Now the last thing you can do to give houses shape is to make less basic shaped houses. What I mean is, instead of making a rectangle or L-shaped house, do a different, more complicated shape, like these. Something I like to do is build 2 or 3 overlapping rectangles, delete the lines in the middle, and that'll be my shape. You can also make some circular walls. I think this works best if you're building a lot of houses in a village, because them being all different shapes really makes the village feel less repetitive. The second tip is to give your builds texture. Instead of using one block, use blocks of a similar colour or type to give texture. I'll show you what I mean. So I have this house which has calcite walls, but if I add some more white blocks to the wall, like diorite and quartz, it makes the walls look a lot nicer. I added them in a random pattern. I can also do this with the logs. Oak logs are the same colour as strip spruce, so I can add some of them to create more texture. I could also do this to my roof. But if you want to keep using the same block, some blocks have variants that look only slightly different. For example, stone bricks. Adding some occasional cracked bricks and mossy bricks adds a subtle texture. You could also do a gradient if you want. Just choose 2 blocks that you want on each end of the gradient, and then find some blocks in between. I think gradient houses can look really cool. Let me know in the comments if you agree. The third tip is to make roofs pointier. Basically, you don't only need to use stairs for the roof. Using blocks can actually look nice. In my opinion, the best roofs start off with slabs, gradually building to becoming 4 blocks to eventually being 3 blocks high in some places. It just looks so much better than stairs. You can also combine slabs, blocks, and stairs to create roofs like this. Mix and match and find a style that suits your build. As well, you could alternate stairs on the end of your roof, like this, to give it a nice pattern. This also works for the top of the roof too. You can see here that the outside roof blocks are a completely different block to the rest of the build. Try this out for yourself. In my opinion, it makes the roof look a lot sharper. Another thing to improve your roof is to add a room in it. I think this makes it look a lot more shaped and also cooler. The last thing I would recommend is giving the top of the roof a pointy bit. I don't know exactly what you call them, but they look nice. I usually build them like this and hang lanterns from them. These roof tips should work for most roof builds, even circular ones. The fourth tip is to raise your builds. Sometimes adding a small foundation can really make your build stand out. For example, if I were to raise this build, it would look like this. Then you can add some nice stairs up and a bit of a patio area. Now I will admit, this tip probably won't work for every house, but maybe just try it on your builds. You could always remove it later if you don't like it. The fifth tip is to add some greenery. This can be done in many ways, such as adding flower beds to the outside of windows. I usually make flower beds with grass blocks and trapdoors. Pick a trapdoor that works well with your build though, as most of them should look good. You can also add some leaves on the roof. Most leaves will look good, but remember they will change depending on the biome you're in. Adding some moss to the leaves also adds texture. And you can even add grass or bushes to the moss to make the leaves appear bushier. There are also texture packs that makes leaves appear bushier too, I'll link it in the description. Another way to add more greenery is to make some bushes and flower fields around the outside area of the house. And finally, add trees. But don't just bone meal saplings, build your own trees. They look so much nicer than regular trees. You can make really small ones or even really big trees. If you have no idea how to build trees like me, there's a Minecraft map full of tree templates. I'll link it in the description. It comes with its own schematics so you can easily build the trees in your own world or server. The mod used for schematics is Lightmatica. Again, I'll link it in the description. The sixth tip is to combine blocks to create something else. For example, if you place vines over redstone, you can create some berry vines. You can also place sea pickles on pumpkins or melons to add a stem. You can even make fairy lights using a lead and some lanterns. There's a load of building hacks out there that you can use. If you think these would be useful, I can make a separate video on them, but for now, I'll just show you a few useful ones that help improve houses. If you use beehives in your house, they kind of look like drawers, and you could even add a slab surrounded by signs to make one of the drawers look open. Placing banners in the floor, then putting stairs over them makes it look like a couch with pillows on it. And finally, you could give your friends a scare by placing an armor stand in the floor and putting a zombie head on it. Then place a bed over it. This makes it look like there are monsters under the bed. Anyway, I hope you found those useful. The 7th tip is to use blocks you don't usually use. This might sound a bit weird, but trust me, by experimenting with different blocks, you can avoid making builds that always have the same colour palette. Also, you might discover some blocks you really like the look of. Remember, blocks have 6 different sides. Sometimes the top texture is different to the sides and to the bottom. For example, chiseled bookcases have a very nice top pattern. I think it looks good for a floor. But yeah, just try building with blocks you wouldn't even think to build with. Here are a few unusual blocks that you could use. Composters have a nice side and bottom texture. Beehives can make a nice wood flooring. Photography tables look like vertical oak planks and might be good for walls. The side of looms also look good as walls. And finally, mushroom stem has a nice wavy texture. Also, you can change the texture on some sides to make it different. The 8th tip is to add some smaller features to your build. Just little details. It depends on your build, but things like flower pots could work. Outside, add a pile of barrels or hay. Even big pots could work. You can also add patterns to these if you want, using pottery shards. Another thing about pots is you can actually place a flower pot in them, making it look like a massive flower pot. As well, add some details to your walls. I could add some signs and trapdoors to this build. However, if you want higher effort features, consider adding a pond with a small waterfall, a cute little fountain, or if your house is by a body of water, try adding in a water wheel. And another important feature to add is a path. I've gone for sort of a rustic path here. Just mix and match some blocks for a path and even add stairs to make the path more realistic. The 9th tip is to look for inspiration. If you're stuck and you don't know what to build, it's okay to look for inspiration. I don't mean copy someone's build block for block, but it's fine to take features from their build and apply it to yours. I usually search for the style of house I'm trying to build, then just see what comes up. But yeah, it's fine to take inspiration from people as long as you don't copy their work and pass it on as your own. The last tip is to use WorldEdit. I know you might say it's cheating, but it really isn't. WorldEdit comes with a lot of commands that make building so much easier. For example, you can replace one block with loads of others easily. You can also make shapes, move buildings around, and so much more. It's not even that hard to learn either, so just give it a go. I can do a video on WorldEdit if you want, but my advice would just be to try it and learn as you go. There's a wiki for the mod which tells you how to do all the commands. I'll link the mod and the wiki down below. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed these 10 tips. Let me know if they helped you out, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!